Right.media.
Back on the SWOSU Coaches Show, and we're joined by rodeo coach Mike Visnieski. And Mike, thanks for the visit.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Last time out, you went to Fort Scott Community College. Men finished first, and the women finished third. A good showing for both teams at Kansas.
Yeah, Fort Scott was a really good rodeo for us. The Marley Berger won the calf roping. Did an outstanding job. Sadie Wooliver won the barrel race, and our bull riders rode good. Our bareback riders, our bronc riders, everything just worked out for us. We drew well and they performed well. So
there's one thing you and I have talked about in the past, Coach, is the fact that sometimes it's just kind of the luck of the draw, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way rodeo's always been. I mean, but we got what we needed at Fort Scott, so we'll try to keep that up.
Up next, you're headed back to Kansas. Garden City Community College is up next this Friday through Sunday.
Yeah, we like Garden City too. That arena has treated us well in the past, and we're excited to go back up there and do it again.
What do you like about the setup at Garden City?
Well, it is an indoor pen now, but it's a little bit bigger indoor. It's kind of the setup of our practice arena. So it just complements that well.
Kind of almost feel like you're at home then when you're on the road.
Yeah. And the Mike Greenleaf he'll be the stock contractor. And as far as the timed events go, he'll be our timed events contractor. And he usually has fresh cattle up there. So it makes it a good rodeo when everything's, a little more even and put together well as far as cattle.
So what about the SWOSU? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and the rodeo arena, being a little bit bigger indoor, it'll really complement our girls in the barrel racing too. They should really shine up there.
What about the SWOSU rodeo? It comes up next weekend, so it's right around the corner.
Oh yeah, it's here already. So, we're kind of the same deal for that. We've been out there we'll be out there practicing this week. The team wanted to get in there a week early and fill that out. And it's good for us too, because we can kind of go through everything over there and get some things done a little quicker. But yeah, we're ready to go, and looks like the weather's going to be nice, and we'll have a nice show.
So what does it take to get ready to host the SWOSU rodeo each year? Obviously, there's a lot, I'm sure, that's involved, and it takes a long time just to put it together.
Yeah, we start about 6 months ahead of time, organizing, meeting with our sponsors. Right now it's kind of like all the deadlines for the press or for our printed, items and all that. It's a lot of little bitty things that we're trying to finish up right now. But yeah, it's a lot, but we try to start enough ahead of time to so it's not so much right here at the end, but it's good. I enjoy it. It is a lot of work. This week and next week is just it's it's an unbelievable amount of hours, but it's fun. We got a good team that helps. I have a good staff that helps. My wife puts in a lot of work to it as well. The athletic department, just it takes a lot of people that are willing to do it and have a good rodeo.
All right, rodeo coach Mike Visnieski, thanks for the visit and good luck when you go to Garden City this week.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Mike Visnieski from SWOSU Rodeo visiting with us here on the SWOSU Coaches Show. More coming up next.
When you are making decisions as important as choosing home health or hospice for a loved one, it's important to ask the right questions. Is the facility locally owned? Are they proven through years of successful business practices? If necessary, can you transition from home health to hospice with the same care given? You can find all this and more at your locally owned Shepherd Home Health and Hospice. Shepherd Home Health and Hospice has served Clinton and the surrounding areas for over 15 years. Dependable, caring, and local. Shepherd Home Health and Hospice. Pioneer Cellular has the best coverage in Western Oklahoma. See the Pioneer Cellular store nearest you or visit gopioneer.com.
There's a new energy in Oklahoma, wind and natural gas working together, keeping your energy prices steady and affordable. Clean, affordable, natural gas and wind. Oklahoma's new energy from PSO. There's a new energy in Oklahoma, wind and natural gas working together, creating jobs and more money for communities and schools. Clean, affordable, natural gas and wind. Oklahoma's new energy from PSO.
Weatherford Regional Hospital is committed to serving Western Oklahoma with the best facilities, technologies, and employees. Everything from the convenient care clinic to the highly trained oncology department to the top-of-the-line mammography and x-ray equipment, down to the women's center, nursery, and emergency room. Weatherford Regional Hospital strives to provide you with a safe, clean, comfortable environment. Give them a call today or check them out online at weatherfordhospital.com.
Need your oil and filter changed? Take your vehicle to CJ Southwest Tire in Weatherford. There is no appointment needed. Bring your car, truck, or diesel in today. You can wait in the comfort of their smoke-free lounge while experienced technicians change your oil and filter on your vehicle. CJ Southwest Tire on the corner of Main and Kansas in Weatherford. Your Bridgestone and Firestone dealer. CJ Southwest Tire. See them on Facebook and at cjsouthwesttire.com.
And we're back on the SWOSU Coaches Show. I'm Mike Smith, and this week we're joined by golf coach Brad Fleetwood. We're going to have a couple of segments here with Coach Fleetwood, and I guess here in the first segment, Coach, we're going to talk a little bit about men's golf, and men's golf team finished fourth about a week ago. That was in Commerce, Texas. Congratulations on the finish.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely was a good finish for us, something that we needed just from a momentum standpoint, if anything. But, yeah, probably, honestly, probably the best finish we've had this year. We've had a couple good ones in there that probably are comparable, but in regards to the field and the teams that were there, and especially some of the teams that we were fortunate enough to get some wins on it. Yeah, it was a good event for us.
Talk a little bit about the play of Connor Boydston. Apparently, he was the low total for SWOSU that particular tournament.
Yeah, Connor's playing really well right now, and again, it's like any sport. You want to be playing your best at the right time, and Connor's certainly starting to trend in that way. So two good tournaments for him in a row now. Played very well at Oak Tree at the Oak Tree Invitational a few weeks ago, and just kind of followed suit and carried it right on into the A&M Commerce tournament down at Trophy Club, and played very well in some really tough conditions. It was neither one of those days were very pretty. One was just super windy and kind of battling storms all day, and then the next day was switching the wind and much colder, and so. A lot of things to adapt to. Our guys in general did a great job. Connor played very well in that event.
Anytime that you're coaching a sport, I know one thing you always look for is consistency. And in that particular tournament at Commerce, you had 4 golfers within 3 strokes of each other. That's pretty consistent.
Yeah, big field. I mean, there's a lot of players there, and we had 4 guys. 2 of them tied for 27th. So, in a sense, almost the top 25. So, when we've got 4 guys that are finishing in the top. There were easily 100 players there, probably just a little bit more. And we're finishing in the top fourth of the field with 4 guys, then that's going to equate to a good team finish. Obviously, it's kind of some simple math there, but that's one thing we've struggled to do this year. Really, we've had 1 or 2 players play really well that have kind of kept us, in some golf tournaments, but really. Again, this event and the previous one, we got a little bit more steady play out of the group as a whole, and that's ultimately what we want. Everybody being in the round, and not just counting on a couple key players to kind of keep us around. So, again, trending in a good direction when it comes to that.
Up next, it's what they call the Mule, and that is hosted by Central Missouri. So that's up next, and that's followed by the GAC Championship. So it's really coming to a close pretty quick. Talk about the next event, which is the Mule.
Yeah, so we've got a first full week of practice we've had with both teams, with no travel involved this week. So that's really good for us. But yeah, very quick turnaround. We go to the Mule, Central Missouri's tournament up in Warrensburg, Missouri. Again, going to be another really great field in terms of regional teams. And, it's a quick turnaround from there. We'll get back late on a Tuesday night and then turn around and leave for the conference tournament on Friday. So conference tournament being a little earlier than normal this year because of where Easter fell. So we're playing a little bit earlier than we typically do for that. But nonetheless, going to be a quick turnaround. And again, that can always be a good thing. If we continue playing well, hopefully we do at Central Missouri, then there's nothing more than we want to hop on a van a couple days later and keep it going. So,
what do you expect when you go to the GAC Championships this year? What do you see out of the GAC?
There's probably more parity this year. I would say especially on the men's side, Arkansas Tech has obviously been pretty dominant for us in our conference, having won the national championship last year. Still a very good team. Henderson State, another great team, ranked nationally right now, and that's a place that they play not on a daily basis, but pretty close. So they've always done really well there. They've probably got more conference championships than anybody, and it's a credit to having some good teams, really good coach teams, and then again being very, very familiar with that golf course. However, I feel like we've talked about it with our guys, been a little bit more parity this year in the regular season. And the beauty of golf, it's we don't have a conference schedule or a conference record throughout the year. It comes down to 3 rounds of golf, and it's who plays best on those 3 days. And so we're used to that, kind of like that aspect. And again, if we're playing the type of golf that we know we can play and that we're starting to see here of late, then our guys have as good of a chance as anybody in that.
We'll talk women's golf with Coach Fleetwood coming up next, and this is the SWOSU Coaches Show.
When it's time to unwind, pick up a bottle of your favorite stuff at Butcher's Wine and Spirits in Weatherford. All the top brands at the absolute best price. From whiskey, bourbon, gin, and scotch to your favorite craft, import, or domestic beer, Butcher's has you covered. And when it comes to wine, Butcher's has the best selection in town. And don't forget to check out their sale rack with deep discounts. Butcher's Wine and Spirits on Main in Weatherford.
Your parents have always protected you and provided the best way they knew how. Now it's your turn to make sure that they are taken care of. Corn Heritage Village and Rehab of Corn and Weatherford is a community providing long-term and skilled nursing care to enhance the lives and meet the needs of individuals and families. Their mission is to provide the highest level of care for your loved ones. Visit them at cornheritage.org or find them on Facebook.
CK Energy makes every customer an owner of the business. Unlike other electric utilities, CK Energy exists to make sure your needs are always met, not to make a profit. And since CK Energy is locally owned and operated, CK Energy is always there with you, reinvesting in your community. That's why in an electric cooperative, the people have the power. Committed to our members and the communities we serve, that's part of the CK Energy commitment.
CK Energy, we light up your life.
On the corner of Custer and Main Street in Weatherford, More Than Medicine stands ready to fill your prescriptions in a fast, friendly, and professional way. They also offer an outstanding selection of gifts for people of all ages. Their Gold Crown Hallmark card selection is second to none, and More Than Medicine is the perfect place for a bridal registry. All this, that's why it's called More Than Medicine. Corner of Main and Custer in Weatherford. They're on call for you 24 hours a day.
We're back on the SWOSU Coaches Show. Mike Smith joined by Brad Fleetwood. He's the head golf coach at SWOSU for both the men and the women. We talked about men's golf just a few moments ago, Coach. Let's talk about the women's side. They finished third at Commerce, Texas, and that's the best finish of the season. They played really well.
Yeah, no, it was good. It wasn't as big of a field as the men's side. However, we got some really quality wins on some teams that, that we haven't beaten in a while. Great win on Arkansas Tech women's team that, that has been again, as I mentioned about their men, they've been a pretty big force on the women's side as well. So to get a win on them, a good win on Midwestern State, even though it's not a regional team, but girls just played well. And as I mentioned earlier, the weather was pretty difficult. So, the scores were all kind of relative to the conditions we were in. But when it was all said and done, the girls just competed really, really well. Very proud of them all the way down to the very end, again, on a tough day, especially on Tuesday. So super proud of the way they played and that finish. Again, it's just a good confidence boost for us.
Megan Brown is a player that we've talked about a lot this season when we've had the chance to sit down and visit. She led the way for SWOSU. She finished 14 over through 3 rounds.
Yeah. Megan's playing very well right now. She's played well all year. Having a win at the first of the spring there in San Antonio, that was a huge win on a great field. Was still played solid, had a rough round in that Southern Nazarene tournament, still played very solid, but just bounced right back, get a tied for third there. Again, a small field, but a extremely quality field, probably as good as one will see. Meg's she's just a natural competitor. She doesn't give up. Not that any of our girls give up by any means, certainly don't. But she just keeps getting after it. If things get tough, it gets her attention, and she goes that much harder. So yeah, very proud of Megan and what she's done, not only just last week, but just this year in general.
All right, Coach, up next for the women, it's heading to Wichita, Kansas for the Newman Spring Invitational. What do you expect there? What's that course like?
Great golf course. It's a place called Sand Creek Station. They've hosted a lot of really big national events. The U.S. Pub Links has been there. They've hosted several Division I conference championships there. So it is as good of a golf course that we'll see all year long. As you can imagine, Newton, Kansas, just being north of Wichita, a lot like Weatherford, Oklahoma, conditions can play a big role in that, especially the wind. And, we played there last year for the first time. And it fared pretty well, played pretty decent in a really good field. As a tournament that, speaking of Megan Brown, won last year. So she's having an opportunity to defend her individual title, which is always fun. And so obviously a golf course that she enjoys and has played well. So, so we're excited to get back there. I think our girls all thoroughly enjoyed that golf course, and will be a very good field. It's one of the MIAA designated events. So all the MIAA schools within our region will be there. And then as well as many of the GAC schools too. So we're looking forward to it and hope that we can, much like the guys, kind of keep our trend moving that north direction. So,
Coach, when you've had success at a course such as that last season, how much of a shot in the arm of confidence does it give your team going into that tournament play this next time around?
Oh, I think it does. Yeah. I mean, every year is different, and golf's a hard game, and a year ago doesn't always equate to the same thing a year later. But, any golf course you've been on before that you've performed, pretty well on, that certainly is a confidence booster. I think you go in, from the word go with a little bit of confidence. Obviously, knowing the golf course better than we did last year. Obviously, just trying to learn it in the practice round last year. So, I think those two things combined are certainly good for our confidence. And I know our girls are looking forward to going and playing.
Sounds good. We wish you much success on both the men's and women's side as you head back into competition. Head coach Brad Fleetwood, thanks for the visit.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
You bet. And we'll have more of the SWOSU Coaches Show next.
When you are making decisions as important as choosing home health or hospice for a loved one, it's important to ask the right questions. Is the facility locally owned? Are they proven through years of successful business practices? If necessary, can you transition from home health to hospice with the same care given? You can find all this and more at your locally owned Shepherd Home Health and Hospice. Shepherd Home Health and Hospice has served Clinton and the surrounding areas for over 15 years. Dependable, caring, and local. Shepherd Home Health and Hospice. Pioneer Cellular has the best coverage in Western Oklahoma. See the Pioneer Cellular store nearest you or visit gopioneer.com.
There's a new energy in Oklahoma, wind and natural gas working together, keeping your energy prices steady and affordable. Clean, affordable, natural gas and wind. Oklahoma's new energy from PSO. There's a new energy in Oklahoma, wind and natural gas working together, creating jobs and more money for communities and schools. Clean, affordable, natural gas and wind. Oklahoma's new energy from PSO.
Weatherford Regional Hospital is committed to serving Western Oklahoma with the best facilities, technologies, and employees. Everything from the convenient care clinic to the highly trained oncology department to the top-of-the-line mammography and x-ray equipment, down to the women's center, nursery, and emergency room. Weatherford Regional Hospital strives to provide you with a safe, clean, comfortable environment. Give them a call today or check them out online at weatherfordhospital.com.
Need your oil and filter changed? Take your vehicle to CJ Southwest Tire in Weatherford. There is no appointment needed. Bring your car, truck, or diesel in today. You can wait in the comfort of their smoke-free lounge while experienced technicians change your oil and filter on your vehicle. CJ Southwest Tire on the corner of Main and Kansas in Weatherford, your Bridgestone and Firestone dealer. CJ Southwest Tire. See them on Facebook and at cjsouthwesttire.com.
And we're back on the SWOSU Coaches Show. I'm Mike Smith. We're joined by track and field coach Jennifer Johnson. And Coach, last week when we talked, you were getting ready to head to the OBU Invitational. That one is in the books behind you now. How did it go?
It went pretty good. We had quite the change of weather at Hendricks. Last time I talked to you, we had a postponement waiting for a couple of inches of snow to melt off the track. And this time the girls were running in 80-degree heat for the first time since cross-country season, basically. So that was quite the shock, but they were able to pull out some times in pretty bad circumstances weather-wise, with being so not used to the heat, that I'm pretty impressed with how well they did.
Delaney York really had a pretty good performance. She posted personal best on both the 200 and 400 meter.
Yes, I was super proud of Delaney. That's one. That was probably the biggest takeaway from that meet, was Delaney improving in both events. That's a pretty big deal to have 2 PRs in one day with only a couple-hour break in between. She did really awesome.
You can look for some more big things from her yet this season?
Yeah, I was just talking to about her earlier today, about how I can't wait to see how she progresses in the years to come, because she's just a freshman and she's making pretty big gains in 1 year. So I think we haven't tapered anybody really yet. We're still practicing really hard before the meets. So later in the season, when we start to really give them a break before we show up to the meet, she's going to be one that's going to feel the difference, and we'll be able to see the difference in her times once she gets recovered.
You also had a first place finisher in the 5,000 meter.
Yeah, in the Saturday event, and OBU, they ran all the distance events twice. They ran them Friday night and again on Saturday. And Sadie did run she won the 5K heat on Saturday. So that was exciting for her too.
Talk a little bit about her performance. She was named Female Bulldog of the Week, so apparently kudos to her.
Yeah. So Sadie, it was a tough race for her, honestly, because of the heat, especially the 5K is the longest distance at that meet. So for her to have to sustain the workload, all the 5K runners just have to sustain that workload for 20 some minutes when they're not used to it being so hot outside, it impacted her a lot. Hindsight, she was able to pull out one of her cross country times in that terrible of a position. So that was exciting. Also, she was the fastest seed in that heat, and that's really hard to be in the front and not have someone to push you, someone to look up to pass. And she did really well with that, pacing herself without having anybody around her. There really wasn't even anybody close to behind her as well. So she had to have a lot of self-discipline to pull that time out for sure.
So up next is the Southwest Christian Invitational. What do you expect there on April 2nd?
I think it'll be pretty fun. I think it'll be a fun meet. It will be pretty small, so we'll be able to be a bit more competitive in that meet. Same though, with the schedule, it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround, and we're not really going to give the girls much of a break until the following week. So they're going to be coming in on pretty dead legs, and their events are going to be closer together just due to the fact that it's a smaller meet. They won't have as much recovery period, but I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun for them to get that extra hard training in before we start tapering for West Texas.
Sounds good. Jennifer Johnson, thanks for the visit on the SWOSU Coaches Show this week. Good luck as you head to the Southwest Christian Invitational.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll have more of the SWOSU Coaches Show coming up next.
When it's time to unwind, pick up a bottle of your favorite stuff at Butcher's Wine and Spirits in Weatherford. All the top brands at the absolute best price. From whiskey, bourbon, gin, and scotch to your favorite craft, import, or domestic beer, Butcher's has you covered. And when it comes to wine, Butcher's has the best selection in town. And don't forget to check out their sale rack with deep discounts. Butcher's Wine and Spirits on Main in Weatherford.
Your parents have always protected you and provided the best way they knew how. Now it's your turn to make sure that they are taken care of. Corn Heritage Village and Rehab of Corn and Weatherford is a community providing long-term and skilled nursing care to enhance the lives and meet the needs of individuals and families. Their mission is to provide the highest level of care for your loved ones. Visit them at cornheritage.org or find them on Facebook.
CK Energy makes every customer an owner of the business. Unlike other electric utilities, CK Energy exists to make sure your needs are always met, not to make a profit. And since CK Energy is locally owned and operated, CK Energy is always there with you, reinvesting in your community. That's why in an electric cooperative, the people have the power. Committed to our members and the communities we serve, that's part of the CK Energy commitment.
CK Energy, we light up your life.
On the corner of Custer and Main Street in Weatherford, More Than Medicine stands ready to fill your prescriptions in a fast, friendly, and professional way. They also offer an outstanding selection of gifts for people of all ages. Their Gold Crown Hallmark card selection is second to none, and More Than Medicine is the perfect place for a bridal registry. All this, that's why it's called More Than Medicine. Corner of Main and Custer in Weatherford. They're on call for you 24 hours a day.
That concludes this week's edition of the SWOSU Coaches Show. Thanks to our guest this week, Mike Visnieski from Rodeo, head golf coach Brad Fleetwood, and also Jennifer Johnson from Track and Field. That'll conclude this week's segment. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Right.media.